Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I'm your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names of kicking candy ass live and living color here with you tonight only on Grande's Graveyard. And tonight it is the Neo Horror Special Numero Trace. Yes, number 3 of the Neo Horror Special. Of course, tonight it's Neo 90s Horror Night only on Grande's Graveyard. I hope you've got your Jiffy Pop. I hope you've got your Dr. Pepper on ice. I hope you've got all these awesome films that we're going to be talking about here tonight on video cassette tape. Yes, because of course, now this is a first. This is a very first in the history of Grande's Graveyard Neo Horror Specials. I usually have all 3 of them on VHS. eBay had other plans. I've only got 2 here tonight on VHS tape. The other one I had to cop out and watch on Tubi. So I'm a fraud. I'm fraudulent. Report me. Tell the internet I'm a horrible person because I only have 2 of the VHS tapes of the 3 that I was supposed to have. I don't know. eBay, I ordered it over 3 weeks ago and it still has not arrived. And that was, of course, one of the VHSs of the movies. But let's talk about the ones and show off the ones that I did get in the mail in time. Of course, from 1998, from, of course, The Great White North, a Canadian slasher film. Very lesser talked about, and one that we're going to shine a little bit of a spotlight on here tonight, Grande's Graveyard, is The Clown at Midnight on VHS. Yes, The Clown at Midnight. Awesome cover art right there, in my humble opinion. Of course, also from the late 90s, of course, 1999, this one came out, just celebrated its 25th anniversary just a year ago. I'm talking about Cruel Intentions. Yes, Cruel Intentions. Sorry, the glare on this is not the greatest in the world, but Cruel Intentions. And, of course, the one that I don't have the VHS for, but I swear to you I did watch and I did my prep for, but I don't have anything to show up other than I guess we'll share the poster when it comes time to review this one, is also from 1998, of course, with James Marsden, Katie Holmes, Disturbing Behavior. 3 neo horror movies. Of course, we got a neo slasher, neo psychological horror, and then a neo mess, if you will, and I don't know if it's going to be in that order, but it just might be only on Grande's Graveyard. So I'm very excited to have you all in the house here tonight. Let's see what y'all have to say in the chat before we get the reviews underway here. Of course, before we even went live, James Van Duzen was in the house, and he was going on, "Good evening, Grande's Graveyard fans." Everyone, absolutely. Thank you so much, James. Good to see you in the house, man. Miss C is here. Ciao, Grande and Graveyardian friends. Let's party like it's the 90s again. Hell yeah, let's party like it's the 90s again. I was only in diapers in the 90s, like the very end of the 90s. I would have probably... I would have been in diapers for pretty much all of the 90s, so it is what it is. But tonight, we're taking those diapers off, you sons of bitches, and we're reviewing some neo-horror. Hey, what's up? Bradley's in the house, the Soulless Trenchcoat. What's going on, Trench? Hope all is well with you. We got Ryan Hanley in the house. There's the Fulci Trivia Master. Yes. Last night they did the Fulci Lives Film Week. Of course, it's Dr. Hogg. It's Will, of course. I call him Dr. Hogg because it's an inside joke. But Will, of course, and Jeff, of course, really really cool guy, El Pinguino. Them, Revolver Man, and of course Lone Star. They all did this really fun Fulci Lives trivia, and I did really really good. And I ended up winning it, so that was a really fun thing last night on Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, or if you do that, or Fulci Lives Film Week is running strong. Of course, the Maestro would have turned 98 just a few days ago. So happy birthday, happy 98th, Lucio Fulci, and long live Fulci Lives Film Week. Of course, we did the Fulci episode last year, but of course, tonight it's Neo 90s Horror. So I'm very excited to have Ryan Hadley in the house. Thank you so much for showing up. Cinephile Wardle, CWO is the only way to go. We got Sean in the house. What's going on? Good evening, everybody. Hey, man, are you going to take first place over the Mets tonight? I hope not, but I think it's coming. Good evening, Chad and Grande. No Slender Man interference tonight. Smooth sailing. Yes, the Slender Man did not decide to bomb my stream like last week, although that stream did pretty good. It's almost at 500 views, so I'm very thrilled with how that stream went. And I'm very happy with the turnout that it got. And hopefully this one just one-ups its ass. I hope so. Haddonfield mascot John checks in. Welcome, John. Hope all is well with you. I think that what makes the late 90s such a very unique and is how they came out during when the 20th century was just ending and the internet was starting to become very popular. It's an interesting moment in time. Was the late 1990s. I mean, everything was changing. It wasn't just horror movies. It was society. It was culture. It was, technology. It was pro wrestling, right? We went from the family friendly stuff of like 94, 95, 96. And then all of a sudden we had Attitude by 97, 98, 99. And the world was just changing. It was a transitional period, but such an exciting one because there were so many young, up and coming, fresh faces in the film scene. And that's what we're going to be discussing here tonight. The casts in these movies, all three of these movies, it's so fun to take a look at where they are now, right? Because it's not so old to be like, okay, this person's in their 80s now. It's to the point where, yeah, these people are in their 50s now or late 40s, bleeding over into the early 50s, wherever. It's cool to see because it's almost like you have a crystal ball to see where their careers would go. Oh, Katie Holmes, holy shit, she married Tom Cruise. That guy's crazy. Oh, shit, look at Tatiana Ali from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Oh, my God, she's going to do all these. That's why I really like doing these as well. And it's also fun to kind of time capsule them, right? Instead of a DVD or a Blu-ray or streaming it on whatever fucking streaming service, which is probably the easiest way to go and definitely a more less expensive way to do it. I kind of like to do the VHS things just for the show because it's fun. It's like, all right, you know what? You want to go back in time? Want to go back? Why not do the era where VHSs were finally starting to fade, right? I think DVD comes out in 97, 98-ish. I think 97 would have been the first year of DVD. And then, of course, VHSs, they hung on for a while until like the early 2000s where it was finally DVD had taken over. And then, of course, it was the HD format wars of Blu-ray and HD DVD and all that good stuff in between. Anthony Chobot does Pop Cultures and Openings. How are you, buddy? By the way, still up to 2013 in the memoirs. And I'm seeing How to Train Your Dragon on Tuesday. Well, I hope you enjoy that, my friend. I do. I hope it's a fun time for the movies. Disturbing Behavior is one of my favorites of the 1990s. Hell yeah, that is a hot take. I didn't realize how much shit happened with that movie. And in show prep, I was floored. So when we get to that movie, there's a lot to discuss about Disturbing Behavior other than even the movie itself, but just the behind the scenes. I had no fucking idea until this week of Grande's Graveyard. So it was a very fun week of show prep to learn new and exciting things. Well, I don't know how exciting, but definitely new. Saw Disturbing Behavior for the first time last year. I liked it, but not what I expected. It's not what a lot of people are expecting. I think that's a beautiful thing about it. It opens like something what you'd expect it to be, and then it plays out as something completely different. But again, when we get there, we have a lot to discuss here. It's like Willy Wonka. So little time, so little to discuss. Oh, wait, reverse that. We get the great Wonka Vader, and let's fucking fly and break through this crystal ceiling, if you will, only on the Graveyard. I'm okay, thanks. How are you? We're doing good, Brad. We're doing good. Ciao, Grande, the neo horror for me. It's always going down memory lane. Hi to the whole Graveyard. Fulci lives. Hell yeah, Fulci lives. Yeah, no, this is. I don't know. I really like this stroll down memory lane too. It's such a fun, like, departure, and it's a show that I don't know if anyone else does this show. Like, I'm sure there are other people that have reviewed these movies before, but I don't know if anyone takes the time to like go to the era of the neo 90s, and I don't even know if that's a real term. It's like something that I'd like to think I sort of made here. So I don't know. I'd like to think I'm that influential, but who knows? I'd probably not. What would Fulci think of neo horror? Fulci would see. That's the thing though. Fulci, and I've said this how many times in the show, like, has Hollywood, or I guess in his case, Italy, right? It's a lot of monkey see, monkey do. Lucio Fulci sees Zombie, he makes Zombie 2. Of course, Dawn of the Dead, he makes Zombie. He sees The Shining and said, fuck you, I can do better than Stanley Kubrick. I'm going to make House by the Cemetery. And that's what he did. He, a lot of times in his career, did that. Bird with the Crystal Plumage, yeah. Golf clap for Dario. He said, fuck you, I'll make a lizard in a woman's skin. That was Lucio. Lucio would always take great influence. So I don't know. I mean, Lucio would have died in 96, which is also the same year Scream comes out. And had he not been in such poor health for about a decade, who knows? Maybe he sees Scream and says, fuck you, I can make the better version of that in Italy. So I don't know. Maybe, just maybe, he would have, if he was in positive health. But unfortunately, from like 86 onward, that guy was in atrocious health, and I do think some of his work reflects it. Like, I like Devil's Honey, but I'm not big on Demonia. I'm not big on, like, Cat in the Brain's funny, but it's not a great cinematic movie. Like, unfortunately, he tapered off as his health did. It's kind of a sad story when you look at it. LA Mets can have first place, and we know all that matters is October. NL East is such a joke anymore, so we'll see who gets hot when it matters. That's the way it is. It's so true. It's who's hot that 5-game stretch down October. So we'll see, man. Rats from the Bay. Oh, yeah. What's up, Grande? Ghostface Prince in the house. I know he's a diehard neo horror guy. Of course, he's got the Ghostface emblem right there. So everybody, we're about 10 minutes in. We'll kick this show off with some reviews. I don't have anything to cheers with you guys, but I'm very excited to have you all in the house. So cheers to the Neo Horror Special number 3, and let's get this goddamn show on the road, shall we? Let's get this show on the road with a movie, of course, that I think has been sort of forgotten, sort of lost in the shuffle. It's definitely the smallest budgeted movie that we'll be discussing here tonight, a movie that mainly went to direct-to-video. It may have played in select theaters across Canada where the movie was shot. It's actually shot in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, which any diehard pro wrestling fan will know. That's the hometown of Y2J, Chris Jericho. Yes, I started laughing when I was watching the like interviews for this. And then I saw there was somebody who was saying, oh, we're shooting in Manitoba, Winnipeg, Manitoba. I was like, holy shit, where's Chris Jericho at? Like he would have been WCW at this time. Like what the hell? I thought that was cool. But of course, the movie I'm referring to here tonight on Grande's Graveyard, the movie we're going to kick this show off with is The Clown at Midnight. Yes, The Clown at Midnight. We've got a brief plot synopsis. 7 teenagers are stalked by a murderous clown while refurbishing an old opera house. Yes, The Clown at Midnight. Now, there was a big reason why I grabbed for this one to discuss and cover during the Neo Week here. And a big reason for that was the 2 names that are listed at the top. I saw Christopher Plummer. I saw Margot Kidder. I'm like, dude, take my money. I want to see that movie. Killer clown, kids refurbishing an old opera house being picked off one by one. That sounds like my bread and butter, man. Take my money, give me this VHS, and let's explore this little movie from 1998. Of course, like I said, it was shot for a very low budget in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I couldn't find the exact number. I read somewhere $12 million American. There's no goddamn way they had $12 million unless it all went to Christopher Plummer and Margot Kidder, but I don't think that's possible. When you've seen this movie, there is no goddamn way. That's just my opinion. I don't think that source is accurate, but I couldn't find an accurate number, so I don't know exactly what the budget was for this. But again, I mean, like I said, the cast immediately jumped out. I'm like, Margot Kidder's like one of my all-time favorite actors, just a beautiful woman. I always loved her in Sisters. I loved her in Black Christmas. I loved her in the Superman film. She's forever Lois Lane for me. I always just adored Margot Kidder, and I was like, I got to see her in this. And then, of course, some of the other cast, like the younger cast, the up-and-comers, if you will, guys like James Duvall, who I always remember from May. He's the guy in May who gets the scissor stab to the head. I don't want to be your friend. Some cult film fans will remember he's Frank the Bunny and Donnie Darko. I love James Duvall. This guy right here, he plays this sort of Tommy Jarvis, Corey Feldman-esque Tommy Jarvis character where he's into special effects and gore and makeup and things like that. He's sort of a horror nerd, if you will, and he wants to, aspire to be a special makeup effects guy. And of course, you also have right here Tatiana Ali, who I always really liked on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I always liked her on that show. And she's in, of course, movies like Jawbreakers and others, Brother. Really liked Tatiana Ali, and I thought her character was a lot of fun in this. I was like, holy shit, like this is what a unique cast to get in this movie. Now, again, it doesn't come without some flaws. Of course, the lady playing the horror character, if you will, I think it was Liz Crawford. Man, Liz Crawford could have used some acting classes. I don't know. She was horrible, this lady, as the bitchy, hoary type character. And then, of course, we have our lead here, which I'm sorry, I always get fucking confused. It's Sarah Lazez, who plays the lead in this movie. And she had done like not other neo horror, but like low budget indie horror a few years down the road after this. And in fact was dating James Duvall at the time. So I'm guessing one got the role and the other said, hey, you want to do this movie with me? And that's, I guess, how they were casted. They were dating at this time. And I like the setup off the bat. I think the setup is really good. I mean, everyone knows I'm a Dario Argento fan, and when you hear old opera house, people getting picked off one by one, I'm thinking Dario Argento's opera. I'm thinking Christiana Marshallich, if you will. I'm thinking, the great shots of the crane of the crow flying throughout the opera house. That's like right off the bat, I love that idea for a slasher movie, the setting of we're refurbishing this thing and we're getting picked off one by one. So they had me right there. However, this is an R-rated movie. You can even see on the VHS, and I thought this was cool. It says, it's not going to be kind, rewind, The Clown at Midnight. And I was kind. I did rewind the thing. This is an R-rated film, and you can see that on the VHS. that is kind of lost in the shuffle here. Now, this is an R-rated movie. You do see nudity. You do get a lot of F-bombs, but this is a slasher movie that is going to leave you sorely disappointed if you're looking for a gore fest, if you're looking for a gore reel, if you're a gore hound and you're really looking to get your fix, you're going to fucking hate this. I'll tell you right off the bat, you will hate this. This is essentially next to a goreless film. There's really no blood in this thing. And to my kind of interpretation, I looked at it as, okay, it's the setup of a Dario Argento's opera, but at the same time, it feels exactly like something that you would see on either Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, or the Disney Channel. It feels like an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? It feels like Phantom of the Megaplex if it was a Disney Channel original movie. And it somewhat feels a little bit Goosebumpsy, which would be Cartoon Network. So it definitely takes and derives from those where it comes to how hardcore, how much carnage, how much oomph that it has in the slasher film department. And this is one of those movies that, yeah, like I said, you're going to be disappointed if you're looking for a bloodbath here. But I kind of, call me crazy, I like the idea. Let's take Are You Afraid of the Dark, Goosebumps, Phantom of the Megaplex, and mix it with fucking Dario Argento's opera. Get some neo-horror movie characters in there with all these stereotypes. You've got the bitch. You've got the dork slash, special makeup effects guy. You have the weird girl who I thought she stole this, Melissa Gallianos as Walnut. Why she's called Walnut, it's never said, but I thought she was excellent as the weird, quirky girl who is like this outcast, but she's sort of likable, but she's sort of, I just liked her a lot. I thought her character was really funny in this. And like, I actually was sort of cheering for her to live in this thing. Our lead, mixed bag. I mean, okay, let's get into the actual plot of the movie itself, because we've just been dancing around in circles here, I suppose. The movie opens up with your classic, it's a murder in the opera house. We get all these shots of the opera house, this abandoned opera house, and then we open up and it's yesteryear and we're in this opera house. They've just done this play and this woman is talking to this man and he's saying, oh, okay, I'll see you in the car. He leaves her. And then all of a sudden this person in clown makeup jumps out of the closet and is able to kill her off as this man is just feet away, but he's cleaning the floor and has headphones in, so he doesn't hear her screams or cries. The door closes, and then we get the opening kill, and then we fast forward like about 17 years or so down the road, and we follow these high school kids, of course, how they're all going to be refurbishing this opera house, of course, that is now being bought by Margot Kidder's character, who, again, she's not in this a lot. It's a glorified cameo, 2-3 scenes maybe. It's nice to see her. I had a big smile on my face when she showed up. She kind of tells them what they need to do and things like that, and always has that Margot Kidder charm. And then of course we do meet Christopher Plummer's character, who is the guy that's stepping down from being the owner of this opera house. He's had all these great memories here, and this horrible murder ruined their entire play at the time and things like that. And the whole mystery is, well, who was the man behind the clown makeup, behind the clown mask, if you will. And that's basically the setup. And then, of course, we get these characters. We get these fun interactions. I liked the characters. I thought they played off each other quite well. Tatiana Ali was so much fun in this as the best friend role. She has this fun kind of joust with this gay character, who I thought the gay character also, I thought they did that really well. It wasn't an overly flamboyant, in-your-face gay character. I thought it gave a lot of respect to the gay character. I thought they did a really good job with handling that. They handled that smartly. They didn't handle it too carefully, but they didn't go over the top and overt with trying to drive the force home that this guy, is a homosexual. They did it really well. I thought they did that tremendously, to be honest, because a lot of movies like this, they go over the top with it to the point where it's like Cruel Intentions. As much as I love Cruel Intentions, it's the best movie that we'll be talking about here tonight. The Joshua Jackson character in that just doesn't, it's just not accurate enough to me to compare to what they got here in this movie. They have some fun character interactions. You have the jock and this bitchy character. They go off to have sex somewhere. You do see some yits. So I mean, if you like your yits, I mean, you're going to see some nice yitties in this movie. That's always fun. They have a fun sex scene in this, and then basically about halfway through the movie, one by one, they're getting picked off. And again, this is a movie where I think it did the little things right. It's got a decent enough cast. It's got a fun setup. It's got a good, I guess, setting itself. I really like the opera house, the old creaky opera house with cobwebs and dust all around the yard. I thought that stuff was really interesting. And then, of course, what it does wrong is some of the bigger aspects, the bigger elements. Okay, how good is the horror in your horror movie? Not too great here. We have our lead. She's having flashbacks to the character of the opening scene. We learn that was her mother that was killed, and she's having these horrible visions of seeing her mother killed over and over again, and she feels like maybe, only maybe, that facing whatever this horror fear that is here, this clown, can make her get over her traumatic past and try to get these visions out of her head moving forward. That was interesting. She has some fun scenes with James Duval, who, like I said, was this Corey Feldman-esque character. He shows her how the blood packet works. He kind of cuts his wrist, and she's like, "You're fucking bad with personal interactions." And he's like, "No, it's all a gag. It's all a gag. Like, look, I thought they had charming chemistry, and you could totally tell that they were a couple in real life because they played off each other really quite nicely." The deaths, though, yeah, lame. The bitchy character, you would think, oh, the bitch, she's saying all this horrible stuff to Tatiana Ali. She's saying all this mean stuff to our lead about her dead mother. You're thinking, oh, man, give this bitch the biggest glorified death, like something you just want to happen to the worst person in the world. She gets strangled in a bloodless way. I thought that was the worst death of the movie. Tatiana Ali had one of the better ones. She's in the basement. She's kind of running from the killer, and he starts kind of using these jousts to go through some of the cloth that she's around, where she grabs one and starts poking back, and then she thinks she got him, and she's like putting her hands up. She's like, "I got him," and then he's behind her and gets you get the whole impalement and gore. That was probably one of the best kills in the movie. I liked that. Walnut got a great death. I thought that was a really good one, where she's running from the killer. She's walking through this, it's empty, it's lightless, it's completely dark, and she's walking through the rows of the opera house where the killer just pops up and just chops her head off. I thought that was great, but again, give me a little more gore. I mean, it was the most bloodless decapitation you'll ever see. It was so odd. I was like, where the hell is the gore, man? I don't think it would just be nothing, no gore, no blood, no nothing. I just thought that was an odd choice. You had the one guy, the jock character, he goes on the roof and he's fighting the killer, and he falls off on the ledge. And then, of course, the clown kind of leans over, and you think he's going to help him back up. The hand gets out. He goes to grab the hand, and it's like a dummy hand. He pulls, and he falls to his death. I thought that was okay. Like, all right, you use the fucking clown gimmick, whatever. It does those things passably well. I don't think they're great. I think they could have been a lot better. I think you actually really should have thrown some sauce. It definitely needed some corn syrup, some blood, and I think it would have worked a lot better. Until we get to the final act, where that is where this movie truly, I think, fell apart, and it's a quite clunky finale at that. So spoilers, granted, any fucking person that has seen enough horror movies, you should be able to tell the killer is in this within 5 fucking minutes. I mean, if you don't know the killer is within 10 minutes of this movie, I don't think you've seen enough horror films. So, basically, now this is going to be, I don't know how the hell to explain this, but I'll give it a shot. Christopher Plummer's selling the fucking opera, and he's depressed about how it all went down because, of course, he had this big successful show yesteryear, and his lead star got killed off by this fucking maniac clown. You see him at the beginning, you know immediately that it's fucking Christopher Plummer. Like, immediately. It's not even just, red herring. It's no, like, you could just tell that he's the one. And you know that he would never take a part this small. It's not like, they have Christopher Plummer in it for 2 minutes to just be like, hey, I'm selling this opera house. Goodbye. Good luck, guys. Like, he's coming back and going to be the killer in this. And, of course, this was the time where Christopher Plummer, he was just off Broadway. He was like, I think the early to late 90s, he was getting nominated and winning Tony Awards on Broadway. So this was one of his returns to film. And of course, he would go on to work with Argento himself in Sleepless in 2001, which is another really great giallo film. I mean, I just wish it was a little less obvious. I just knew it immediately. I was like, all right, whatever. He's the killer. Tell me why. Boy, I shouldn't have asked that question. The big why in this movie, the big why is Christopher Plummer was in an affair with the woman from the opening, the lead character's mom. They were having an affair. He came to her and said, "Hey, I love you. Let's go away together." And she said, "No, listen, I'm going to get married. I'm pregnant. Like, or no, I just had this kid with this guy. Like, no, like we're gonna live the two of us. Thank you, but like this is it. I'm done with you." And he, of course, says, "Fuck you. Why don't you love me?" and kills her as the clown. And this is where it comes so fucking convoluted. There is another person dressed as a clown throughout this entire fucking thing that is sort of a red herring, where Christopher Plummer is killing these people off dressed as a clown, but he's also in there, this other random fucking guy that thinks that he's being blamed for the murders from all these years ago. And that's why Christopher Plummer has held this guy there for like 17 years. He's still dressed up as a clown. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? This guy's been sitting in this opera house for 17 years. What the fuck? You just go get his groceries and tell him stay in character, because if you don't, the cops will find you? Like, bizarre. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, absolutely one of the biggest goofs, gags. I don't understand why that stayed in the movie. Like, it completely, I'm like, wait a minute, what? Like, there's a whole standoff of the lead, Christopher Plummer, and this guy is a clown. Come to me. I was like, buddy, come on. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you could tell. And then, of course, you get the whole spiel, and Christopher Plummer's in the clown makeup. He's dressed our lead to look like the mother because he wants to see a part of the mother in her daughter, and is like, hey, I love you. You're this great thing, blah, blah, blah. And she says, go fuck yourself. And he looks at her and goes, that's exactly what your mother would say. I thought that was funny. And then, of course, it all plays out as he wants to do this big third act, and all hell breaks loose as, let's just say, Christopher Plummer breaks a leg. I won't spoil that, but I don't know. It is rough around the edges. It gets the big things wrong, like logic, like gore, like kills in a slasher movie. You want to make sure your kills are generally creative and good. It doesn't really do that well, but at the same time, I can't say that I wasn't entertained by it. There's a good pacing, I would say, and I think that other than a really clunky third act, I do think this is an okay watch. I do. Like I said, a couple of the other kills, there's a fun one where everyone's arguing on the stage, and one of the trap doors opens, and the gay character falls down, and because we saw him joust before, he jousts with the killer to try to protect himself, only to get electrocuted alive. I mean, it works somewhat. It somewhat works. And the director, man, we could talk about him a little bit, because he's sort of the weird link here. Of course, John Pellerin, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Of course, he was Canadian French director. He had directed a lot of Metallica music videos. I believe he directed From Whom the Bell Tolls. Like, he had done a lot of, I think, Skid Row, like a lot of shit for music videos. And then when he tried to make his turn into filmmaking, a lot of bad low budget movies like Laserhawks. And I mean, this, I think, complements a director like that, because again, the formula and the palette is so simple. You just have to make this entertaining and fun. And for the most part, I thought it was. Call me crazy. This gets a 4.4 on IMDb. People don't like this movie. They say this is a big piece of shit. Call me crazy. I will watch this over Urban Legend. Call me fucking whatever you want to call me. I'd watch it over Stephen King's It 2017. Killer Clown. You want to talk about good killer clown? I'll take this killer clown, Christopher Plummer killer clown, over fucking Bill Skarsgård any day. Fucking 8 days of the week, twice on Sunday. I don't give a shit. I don't know. I liked this. I thought for whatever reason it was a glass half full type of film. Some of the acting rough, yes. The bitchy character, the jock character, they don't do a very good job. Like I said, kills are cut away. Pacing is pretty good, and then the finale is kind of wacky all over the place. Clunky. But I don't know, glass half full, I'm going to come in like a 6.5 out of 10. I think it's fun. I don't know. If you like the premise and the setup of it, the sound of it, I definitely think it's worth a watch. But I'd like to hear what y'all have to say in the chat. Let's hear what you all have to say. I think we were here. Mateo says, go back to Toronto, Y2J. I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot. I love that, man. I'm a huge Chris Jericho. Well, I used to be. Chris Jericho now is really kind of fucking hanging up. But, I mean, at the time, oh, my God, man. I was a huge Jericho-holic, and I'm a big fan. I always really liked Y2J. So put it this way. I'm such a big Y2J fan. My initial PS3 game handle was Save Us Grande because it was Save Us Y2J. That is a true, and I still have the PS3. I can prove it to anyone who doesn't believe me. But yeah, that was my handle on PSN and for the PS3. The Clown at Midnight plot sounds like a version of Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, I mean, you stole my fucking line here. I would watch this over Dario Argento's Phantom of the Opera any fucking day, any day. I think I've seen the opening shot of the movie and that's it. Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely is a low budget picture because you could see the cinematographer's trying to do things. This doesn't look like a movie that had a lot of budget behind it. It looks cheap. It looks direct to video. And that's really what it was. I mean, it may have, like I said, I could not confirm this or not. It may have played in select theaters around Canada and Canada only. This did not screen in the United States theatrically. This went direct to video in early 1999, of course, and then everywhere else, of course, that same year. But it may have screened in late 98 in select theaters in Canada. That's at least what I believe is the situation here. I've always felt Donnie Darko is a horror version of the classic slapstick movie Harvey movie, both involving the main character communicates with a make-believe rabbit. I really like both those movies. Harvey is really great. I'll have to give it another shot. I think I had to do something that day, but never got back to it. Tatiana Ali became a very famous singer. Yeah, I always liked Tatiana Ali. I thought she was one of the better actors in this. Like, I really liked her. I thought she was just fun and energetic and really I thought she was sort of electric. I thought she should have been one of the last people to go. Unfortunately, she's like the second one to go. She's picked off rather early, which I thought was a mistake. I think we should have gotten as much with Tatiana. And I wanted more Walnuts. I wanted her. I thought she was great. I've never heard of this movie, need to watch it. Yeah, no, that's a big reason why I picked it, is because we all know certain neo-horror movies, like they roll off the tongue. Whereas this one, nobody fucking gonna talk about this movie. So I was like, let me get the spotlight out. Let me get the Ring spotlight. We'll shine it on this flick and we'll talk about it here tonight. It's on Tubi. Okay, there you go. To be or not to be. You can watch this thing for free. Speaking of Are You Afraid of the Dark, Tatiana Ali appeared in the episode Quicksilver. That's right. She had appeared in Are You Afraid of the Dark. You are absolutely right. And of course, Fresh Prince. That was the show that I knew her from. And then another thing, with this, that I fucking, I don't know. I wanted to mention this as well. This is a movie that I had seen before, and I saw, of course, in HD or whatever, HD rip or whatever the fuck. I'd seen it on YouTube once before. Watching it on VHS, I thought helped it. It kept things dark that you otherwise would have seen in HD. I thought this helped the mood of the movie, whereas I would never upgrade. Like, this is one of those movies, I think the shittier it looks, the better it's going to work because, again, you're in a dark, grimy old opera house. I don't want to see overexposure. It's not like an Argento. It's not like, a Carpenter film where you want to see the scope at its absolute best looking. This is a type of film. It's low budget. It was made for peanuts on location in fucking Winnipeg, Manitoba. Give me the shittiest looking version of this you can see, and I think it's going to help it a little bit. And it did. I would say it did. Neo horror, try losing 6 in a row. Pat's taking shots. I don't know if you call this an evil clown movie, but the cult 1980s horror movie House on Sorority Row does have the antagonist, which dresses as a court jester. Yeah, I mean, I like House on Sorority Row. That to me, yeah, it is. I know what you mean. It's not a straight up clown slasher movie. And neither, I mean, there's a lot of clown horror movies, right? There's Funland, which is one I always really liked. I always liked that movie. I know a lot of people don't like it with David Lanzer. I always thought that was a fun one. Funny enough, the guy that did Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, Michael A. Simpson. I always liked that. I always liked Maniac 2, the 7 minutes that we get of Joe Spinell playing the clown. I don't know. There's so much clown horror out there. There's Vulgar, which was done by the guys that were close with Kevin Smith. I think Brian Johnson directed that, which was like the Brian O'Halloran from Clerks. He's this guy who gets sent to this really weird sex party, and he ends up getting molested and then becomes this vigilante clown killer that becomes sort of a martyr. Vulgar's a really good movie that not enough people talk about, but that one's more exploitative as opposed to horror. The View with Drew. Welcome, Drew. Hope all is well with you, my friend. I didn't mean to rhyme there. I swear on my mother. Sounds like they should have just made it 2 different independent killers who have different motives for doing the same thing. That's not a bad idea. I think you didn't need the other clown at all. Like, she's completely okay. that guy was a red herring, but like he wasn't there. Like, or you can have the characters mention him in passing. Oh, they say that this guy killed your mom. What do you think? And then, of course, the big, oh, it's Christopher Plummer. Oh my God. That would have been better than fucking having the guy there. It's like, wait a minute. What? Did you have this guy here for 17 years? It's never really said. It's just like, what the fuck? I started cracking up. I was like, what in the hell? Like, who the hell wrote that? I saw this on Tubi because of the name, and I usually like clown horror, but this one is pretty boring. Didn't hold my attention or interest. Yeah, no. I think the soft nature of it is going to turn a lot of people away. If this was a gore fest where people were getting fucking hacked and slashed, and that you could just taste the gore off the screen, I think a lot of people would like this. I think the director made a poor call to make this as cut back as he did, being that it was R-rated. Like, if it was PG-13, okay, like I get it. Because it really, without the yits and without some of the fucks, this easily could have been PG-13. It really was so essentially goreless that you didn't have to make this R-rated. But in my opinion, if you're going to make it R-rated, you go for it, brother. When you've got the blessing of no money, right? We always talk about how money can, we always want money. We always need more. We didn't have enough. It's a tale of so many directors and talented writers, their careers where they didn't have the money to do what they wanted to do. Here's a case where, yeah, you didn't have much, but you had enough to fucking get some corn syrup in there. Don't tell me you couldn't afford special makeup effects. It feels much more like a creative decision where we're going to cut back. We're going to make this one a little bit more tame. And I think that cost them in the long run. Because when you want to get a cult following from neo horror fans, from slasher horror fans, clown horror fans, you're going to want a little bit of extravaganza on it. And this movie just doesn't have that. I haven't seen this one, but I'll check it out. I love opera houses. Yeah, no, I liked the setting, and I like I said, Goosebumps, Phantom of the Megaplex, all that stuff. So that's why I liked it. It's not for everybody, though. There'd be people to tell you this is the biggest piece of shit. Grande, you just made the list. Get the fucking pen out and write down. Fire Flames. I love VHS, especially for horror. Picked up Apollo 13, Temple of Doom on tape today at Goodwill. Hell yeah, Fire Flames. That's a name that I don't know has ever been in the house. Well, welcome, Fire Flames. Well, I'll cheers to VHS with you right there, buddy. Cheers to Fire Flames. Let's see. John Steele put me on Funland. Love that one. I do too. I think that's a fun movie. I watched Houses October Bill last night. Some clowns in there as well. Okay, very cool. Very cool. But that is The Clown at Midnight, one that I do somewhat recommend. I know some people probably hate me for it, but I'm warning you, I'm telling you everything right off the bat, right? If you're a big gore hound and you're going to lack that, miss that, think the movie will suck without that, don't watch it. If you are into that kind of setting and stuff, seeing some of these actors, I think it's worth a watch. So that's just me. Let's move on, of course, into the next movie, which is, in my opinion, the best movie we'll be discussing here tonight. Of course, which came out in 1999, of course, from director Roger Kumble, if you will. This is, if I grab the right VHS tape, I was about to show Clown Midnight again. This is Cruel Intentions. Yes, Cruel Intentions from 1999. And we have a brief plot synopsis. Two vicious step-siblings of an elite Manhattan prep school make a wager to deflower the new headmaster's daughter before the start of the term. Yes, Cruel Intentions. Now, this, I know right off the bat, I had a few people ask me in the preparation for show for this, is that really a horror movie, Grande? Is that really a neo-horror movie? It's around that time. It has people that would appear in neo-horror movies, right? Of course, Sarah Michelle Gellar was no stranger. She was Buffy the Vampire Slayer by this point. Of course, Ryan Felipe, her and he had been in I Know What You Did Last Summer, which I think we covered on one of these neo-horror specials. Of course, Reese Witherspoon, who, I mean, was just everywhere. I mean, I've always liked the movie. It's a depressing film, Election with Reese Witherspoon and Matthew Broderick. I'd first seen her in that movie, and like, she's always just one of those people it's just pleasant to see, really pretty to this day, like in her 50s and still looks great. I mean, Reese Witherspoon doesn't fucking age. Really good core ensemble cast, but like I was saying, a lot of people were asking me, is that really a neo-horror movie, man? Like, you're kind of copping out on this one. I hear you. I totally understand. If you don't feel this is a horror movie, I understand. You feel it's more romantic drama, dark psychological drama. I've heard people say thriller. I don't think this is a thriller. I think this is more psychological horror with some, of course, sex thrown in between, with the love angle as well. To me, when I talk about neo horror, when I talk about the horrors of Cruel Intentions, to me, it's all about the horrors of manipulation. It's about the horrors of two people, right? Ryan Felipe's character and Sarah Michelle Gellar's character, who are used to getting everything that they want when they want. They are, of course, stunning looking people, right? Of course, in real life, Ryan Felipe and Reese Witherspoon were together at this time, would get married a few months later and have a child, I think, during the promotion for this movie. Not during this movie, but during the promo, I believe, like some of the interviews to promote the film, Reese Witherspoon was pregnant. So that, go figure there. I think it's about the horrors of manipulation and the horrors of when you see people that treat others like they are objects, like they are toys, like they are the proverbial pawns of a chess game, right? Because Ryan Felipe does not look at women in this movie as if they were just people like you and I. No, he looks at them like they are objects, and he objectifies all of them. And Sarah Michelle Gellar, she's even worse, right? She's this girl who has this cross, and whenever I'm in doubt, I just look to Jesus. And of course, she has this cross that opens up into a little bit of a cocaine vial, which she snorts throughout the movie. And they, of course, come to this big idea of a bet, the old classic. Let's have a bet here. Of course, nothing, too different from, of course, the Dangerous Liaisons novel, which was a French novel, of course, that had been adapted a few times before this. Of course, it had been done in the 80s as well. But not just that. Let's do, this big situation where, it's not just a bet like, what's the movie? Eddie Murphy and fucking Dan Aykroyd. Trading Places. Let's not just do a $1 bet. Let's do a bet over somebody's entire dignity, right? Let's deflower the headmaster's daughter before the semester starts. And if, of course, he wins, he gets Sarah Michelle Gellar. If Sarah Michelle Gellar wins, she gets his car or something like that. A fun setup. And of course, this was the director, Roger Kumble. He had seen a little movie called Welcome to the Dollhouse. And anyone who is a big Todd Solondz fan like me, you know how crazy that movie is. You know how wild it depicts middle school, how mean kids can be, how crazy that environment and unsteady that environment can be. Roger Kumble saw that and was like, man, I got to do something with this, man. I've got to take it to high school. And then, of course, he tied in Dangerous Liaisons and was like, wait a minute. Dangerous Liaisons with Pfeiffer, and I forget who else was in the 80s version. I think it's Pfeiffer and Glenn Close. He's like, all right, that's fine. That drews like $30 million. But if I put some hot teenagers in this, if I give you a little Sarah Michelle Gellar, if I get you Reese Witherspoon, if I get you Selma Blair, this thing's going to make $75 million worldwide on a budget of 10. And that's what this movie ended up doing. It was a spark. It was a monster hit in like the beginning of March of 1999. This was a movie I don't know if they expected it to do as well as it did, but it became this big box office smash that everybody and their dates were wanting to go see. So that's a big part of Cruel Intentions. And like I was saying before about the whole horrors of manipulation, that is driven home a lot by Selma Blair's character in this movie. Now, of course, Selma Blair is someone that I've always really liked. And funny enough, she's worked several times with Solondz, right? Storytelling, which I'm not a big a fan of. And I think Life After Wartime, or maybe I think it might have been Dark Horse. I'm not sure. But Selma Blair had worked, a lot, did a lot of good movies. I really liked her. Always liked her as an interview. Seems like a really nice lady. I can't lie to you. When I was watching this, I was kind of sad to know what Selma Blair has gone through. I know she's got horrible, severe MS, like walks with a cane now. Like, I know she attempted to take her own life at a point. It's sad. Like Selma Blair, because especially in this movie, she's so likable. She's this dim-witted, like very extremely naive woman who is just discovering, her womanhood. And it's, of course, when it comes across these two people, they decide how much can we humiliate her? How much can we get her to do? It almost becomes like a game to them. What can we do to humiliate this person and all of the stuff in between? Now, of course, you do get the infamous, and the shot that everyone remembers from this movie is the infamous lesbian kiss scene between Sarah Michelle Gellar and Selma Blair as they get to first base, if you will. That is, wow, that holds up. Whether you're watching this on VHS or Blu-ray or whatever the fuck you're watching this on, man, that is a hot scene that I know the studio wasn't really for it, but of course, the director of photography had shot it, and he was like, "You fucking be nuts if you cut that out." He's like, "That's one of the greatest things I've ever shot." So they kept that in there, smartly. I think that was a wise move to keep that in there. And funny enough, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Selma Blair are best friends in real life, and I believe they met on the set of this movie. So go figure. That kiss was so instrumental and so famous for all these years, and their friendship has lasted the test of time. They're like best friends to this day. I thought that was kind of a cool thing. Now, this is fun and has all the great dialogue that you'd expect and want out of a Neo type of horror movie for me. Like, it's very self-aware. It's very witty. There's a lot of good dark psychology in this where, Ryan Felipe's character will criticize Sarah Michelle Gellar, but she'll do the same thing back to him. It's almost like these two people, they play their same game, but because they're opposite sexes, they have these different mentalities on how it should be done. What's the ethics here in a game where we ruin people's lives and sexually take advantage of them because of their naiveness or dumb-wittedness, or whatever in between. That stuff in here is really well done. It's really well told, and I like their chemistry back and forth. And of course, like I said, they had worked together before, Felipe and Sarah Michelle Gellar. And then, of course, like Sarah Michelle Gellar and Reese Witherspoon, which I always really liked about this movie, we only get one shot of them, and it's towards the end. And they're never actually in the same, I guess, like back-to-back scene together. We'll get into that when we get towards the end. But Felipe and Reese Witherspoon, I love that they were actually in love in real life. So their scenes of chemistry and him trying desperately to win her over, that stuff is great because at first she's like, "Oh, I've heard your bad reputation. I don't want to be anywhere near you." But there's the attraction is there. There's clearly something there. And of course, when people in real life are actually fucking in love, it just bleeds over and transcends to the screen here. And you could totally see that they were a thing. Now, cool fun fact that I don't know if a lot of people know. Studio wanted Katie Holmes. Studio insisted upon Katie Holmes, which we'll talk about in Disturbing Behavior at the end here. They wanted Katie Holmes. They were begging for Katie Holmes. Of course, Katie Holmes is coming off, Dawson's Creek and Disturbing Behavior and Teaching Mrs. Tingle, which had come out, I think, earlier in '99. Actually, may have come out after this. I forget when Teaching Mrs. Tingle came out. But that was, of course, Katie Holmes had been everywhere by this point, and they really wanted somebody like sweet, naive, pretty, innocent, somebody like a Katie Holmes to play the Reese Witherspoon part. And of course, the director wasn't feeling it. He was like, "No, Katie Holmes, like, you need to have some sort of a strength to this character. I don't want Katie Holmes. I want somebody else." And of course, what they ended up doing was they asked Ryan Felipe, "Would your girlfriend be interested? Would Reese Witherspoon want to do this?" And so the story goes, they took Reese Witherspoon out to dinner and tried to get her drunk and get her to agree to doing the movie while she wasn't in her right mind. What ended up happening was they ended up drinking too much. And by the end of the night, the director got down on his knees and begged Reese Witherspoon, "Hey, it'll be only 2 weeks of filming. Please, you'll be great in it. I promise. Like, I want you so bad. The studio doesn't want you. They don't want you, but I do." And he was like, being all over the top, and she agreed to do it. So that's how they got Reese Witherspoon to end up doing this movie. I thought that was a really cool behind the scenes story. And I like, of course, the other characters in this movie. I think, of course, you do have the Sean Patrick Thomas, I think, who you might remember him from Halloween Resurrection. He's the fucking guy who thinks he's the chef and thinks Michael Myers started killing people because he had a bad diet. He's in this movie as this fun character who teaches Selma Blair how to play this instrument, but they're getting sexually flirtatious, and Sarah Michelle Gellar doesn't like that. Sarah Michelle Gellar's character is really, to me, the best thing in this. She's fucking great as this absolute evil bitch, this soulless, empathyless bitch. I mean, she is absolutely just, so evil in this. But at the same time, what I think is brilliant, and I don't know if this is intentional, I think it is intentional, her sex appeal and her, like, the whole, you could put it anywhere you want. She is so seducing and seductive in this film. And it's like, every time you watch it, if you're a straight male, there is no fucking way you cannot get excited by it. She just sells it hook, line, and fucking sinker, man. She knew how to use her assets, if you will. Emphasis on the ass, I guess. She's great in this. To me, the best thing in it and the reason to watch it, just like I Know What You Did Last Summer, just like Buffy, just like this, she's the star. Like, she steals this thing. There's no doubt that her character is fantastic in this. And I really like Sarah Michelle Gellar overall. Of course, as we did the female verse off of Horror Scream Queen, that Sarah Michelle Gellar ended up winning. Everyone hated me for having Sarah Michelle Gellar beat, I forget who it came down to, but I don't know. I love SMG. I don't give a shit what anybody says. She makes this movie. It's like her evil character that she sees Selma Blair getting close to Sean Patrick Thomas. So she steps in and just sleeps with him just to spite her. It's not even for the enjoyment of sex. It's just to fuck you for getting close to somebody that I saw first. It's all the dark psychology of someone who's mentally fucking unstable and pretends that they're this prim and proper person every day in and out, right? She keeps up this reputation of, I'm a goody two shoes. I'm fucking Donna Reed, and everyone will look at me and see me and think, what a petite lady. That's a woman. That's not just a hot woman or a good looking girl or whatever, young teen, young youth, whatever. This is a lady, and that's her whole vibe that she's trying to get off. But of course, behind closed doors, what we see, what Ryan Felipe sees, is that she's anything but a lady. She's not even a woman or a sexually hungry woman. She's a monster. She's a bitch. And she's great at playing this. Like, that's why I think the whole psychology of her character works. You present yourself as one thing, but you're a spade behind closed doors. And eventually, when you get to the final act, we see what happens when her true colors are shown to everybody. I liked that. I mean, there are love story elements here with Ryan Felipe and Reese Witherspoon. If you like romantic comedies, romantic dramas, that stuff's in here. That stuff to me is like, it's like whatever, like, moving along, like get to the good stuff. That's kind of more my mentality here with this movie. But it is still well done. And like I said, there's a few times they break up and stuff like that, but he comes back to her because he says he loves her. I think the music in this movie is really good. It's like a xylophone-esque score, like I don't know. I can't do it, but it's really good. I really like the xylophone score in this movie to really kind of create sexual tension that just vibes off the screen from beginning, middle to end. I really like that xylophone score, and a great soundtrack too. The Love Me. I love that song. I love, of course, the ending song of Bittersweet Symphony, right? As you get to the finale here, we see that Ryan Felipe's character, he's broken up with Reese Witherspoon time and time again, but he really does feel for her. He tries to go back and show her his journal, and he wants to, show her that she was a bet, but he fell in love with her, and that it's not about the bet anymore. It's about, spending the rest of his life with this woman that he's fallen in love with. He's finally felt something for a woman that's not just sexual. He feels actual emotional bond. So he goes back, tries to win her over and things like that, and she's not having it at first until Sarah Michelle Gellar sets up Ryan Felipe for rejecting her. I don't want to fuck you anymore. And she freaks out, like, how you can't reject me. I'm perfection. So she gives this big lie to Sean Patrick Thomas's character. They kind of have a struggle in traffic. Reese Witherspoon tries to break it up, and then of course he pushes and saves Reese from getting hit by a car, and he gets his ass run over. We fast forward to his funeral, and who else but Sarah Michelle Gellar and Reese Witherspoon are in the bathroom getting ready for the eulogy, right? Of course, Sarah Michelle Gellar is snorting her cocaine because she has to do the eulogy. She has to fake it, if you will. And Reese Witherspoon comes out, and you get the best scene in this movie to me. And it has so much to say if you're really, truly a film fan, and if you look how films are shot. I love how this was done from an artistic standpoint. We've got Reese, we've got Sarah Michelle Gellar, and it's one shot of them both standing in front of a mirror. That's the only shot on screen that you get between the two actresses in the entire film. They're never, ever on screen together beside that scene. And they're never, like I said, mano y mano. It's just we're mano looking at that. We're not even looking at each other. We're looking through a mirror at each other. And I think that it has a lot to say about, again, the psychology of Reese Witherspoon's character versus somebody like Sarah Michelle Gellar. Reese Witherspoon is this innocent girl, is this woman that doesn't believe in sex before marriage and all of these things, but she does find love. And she even says to Ryan Felipe, it's okay to have, the sex before marriage, as long as it's with a person that you truly love and it's not just a one-night stand. And she is believing her morals and kind of stands tall on them, whereas Sarah Michelle Gellar, she's this phony bitch. She's this absolute shell of what she's pretending to be. She's just this manipulator, this master manipulator that kind of stands back and dissects things like a fucking shark. I thought, she was just evil and malicious. I love the scene where they're talking and she goes, "Oh, did you know Sebastian? Did you know Ryan Felipe?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, you could say that." And there's this whole thing of like, you're gonna miss him, and like, of course I'm gonna miss him. And it's all this phoniness. And Reese Witherspoon, right before she leaves the room, she says something like, "Sometimes I turn to Jesus in times like this to insinuate, I know what you got in there, sister. You better run now." But Sarah Michelle Gellar doesn't get it. She's doing the eulogy of, "Oh, don't give in to peer pressure like Sebastian, my dear stepbrother." She's great. And of course, what happens is Sebastian, Ryan Felipe's journal has been published for all to see. And Selma Blair, who had been a victim of them, right, because he had been, having sex with her and they had been kissing her and telling her all these things just to get a laugh, I suppose. She's the one handing out the journal that exposes Sarah Michelle Gellar for who she really is. And we get this great song, Bittersweet Symphony, as she's kind of looking around, and Sarah Michelle Gellar has to sell the anger as tears are coming from her eyes. Like, "You motherfuckers, I'm ruined." It's even better than if she was to get hit by a car or get killed off in some spontaneous way. It was bigger and better than that. And there's the biggest reason for that is this: her reputation dies in that moment. It's not just her physical being, it's her reputation, her game, her facade, if you will. It dies in that moment because she's now exposed for what she truly is, a grade A bitch. Great storytelling. I love the musical choice. They pull you see the drugs come out of her thing and she's in deep shit. As we see who else but Reese Witherspoon driving a fancy car that was a part of the bet she was the victim of, or I guess victim of, really. She ends up with the car driving down the fancy road as we fade to black. Great stuff, man. I really love Cruel Intentions. I think it has so much to say about teen sexuality. Again, I do like that he borrowed from the Church of Salons, right? Okay, if he could do this with middle school, and Dangerous Liaisons can do this with like middle to upper, older aged people. I can do this with, teenage heartthrobs because that's what's selling right now. And this movie sold like hotcakes. There's no doubt, right? I mean, Scream, like I said, it kicked off this whole Neo movement. I Know What You Did Last Summer, another one that was a big fucking hit. This was another one, $75 million against a budget of 10. That's a lot of fucking money for a movie like this. And man, there's no doubt why I made it, because it is really well done. It's really well acted, really well written. I do think the director, this is his best movie by a mile. He also directed the prequel and sequel to Cruel Intentions, which are horrible. I got 2 words for you: Kerr Smith. That's all you got to know. Nothing says movie star like fucking Kerr Smith. Kerr Smith is awful. He's in Cruel Intentions 3, which don't fucking do it. Just don't do it. I'm just telling you not to do it. Cruel Intentions 1 is the only one worth a shit. So I'm telling you. And this director, got lucky. I think he got lucky, but it all works out. I think it's a really good movie. But I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. I'm sorry if I went on a little long there. It happens. Let's see. Oh, okay. Second time chatting it and not just lurking. Okay. Well, I appreciate anyone lurking in the strangers lurking in the night. Hell yeah. We gotta rock on with our journey here. What makes Catherine such a villain is how she takes advantage of her step sibling's crush on her. Yes, of course. The whole, you want me because you're the one, I'm the one you can't have, and it eats you alive. And it's true. He's like, you're right. Like, fuck. Like, he's so suave and douchey and mean to all of these fucking people. But to her, he crumbles like the cookie that he is. Ryan Felipe's character is horrible in this movie. Like, he's a piece of shit. And I'll be honest with you, I never liked Ryan Felipe as an actor. I think this is his best role because he's just playing an asshole. That's basically what he's playing. And then when he has to get to his sensitive side, it's going up with someone who go on to marry for almost a decade. I know they sadly did divorce, I think, in like late 2000s, 08, 09-ish, somewhere around there. I think they divorced. I mean, yeah, it's genuine. So I think his acting worked a lot better. The kiss in this movie helped a lot of guys during puberty. Of course, man. I mean, and to this day, it's like, oh my God. Like, when you watch it on VHS, I don't have a remote to rewind, fast forward, pause, nothing. So you got to really sit there and give the movie your undivided attention. Your attention and a cruel attention. I don't know. You really have to pay attention. And yeah, that's a scene where I think every fucking straight male was paying attention. Would Freeway count as neo-horror, or is that a thrill? I would say Freeway is more of a thriller, but I really like that movie too. And of course, that does star Reese Witherspoon. I like Freeway a lot. I don't know. It's all up to interpretation. There's going to be some people that say this is not a neo-horror movie. You stretched for the stars. You're a dumb fuck. That's what people will probably think. I respectfully understand why you'd say that, and I could really see an argument for, yeah, this isn't a overt horror movie, because it's not. It's really not an overt horror movie. It doesn't have these, it's not a slasher. It's not, nobody's getting butchered alive. It's not a movie where there's this paranormal entity making people do these things or anything like that. But I do think there's a lot of psychology in it, and I think it's not your classic quintessential hallucinative psychological horror movies, but I think it is one. It's very, very loose. It's very thin, but I would say it is in my book. It is, but very loosely. It is close to being, something not. 2 years later, Selma Blair later landed the role in one of the funniest comedies of all time, Legally Blonde. Slasher Friend's a Legally Blonde friend. Very cool. Saw the movie saw the movie with a date in the theater, both not knowing what it was about. Put us in a frisky mood. It was a great night. Yeah, Mateo, ciao, my friend. Hey, and if anybody didn't wish this man, last week it was his birthday. Wish Mateo a happy belated birthday, please. Everyone on Grande's Graveyard Chat, happy birthday to the king, the maestro of the Jolly, Mateo Appendino, the legend himself, man. Hell yeah, that is such a cool story. There were many sequels and also the TV series. That's right. The TV series does have Sean Patrick Thomas come back in it, which I'm like, but what the fuck, man? Why would you make this a show? Did this really have to be a fucking show? Really? It was fine as one movie. Why was there prequels and sequels and shows? Like, what the fuck, man? You're trying to recapture the success. It just doesn't work now. And I think that's a big thing with neo horror movies, especially. They are of their time. They just are. You can't really make a movie like this anymore without it feeling forced. Whereas at this time, it was like everybody around the pike was trying to make this type of movie to get this type of success. Pretty faces on the cover. Let's try to sell some fucking tickets and get these teens in a horny mood. That was the goal. And this is a movie that achieved said goal in flying colors. Ant-Man 525 is in the house. Hey, Grande, salute to the Ant-Man. Welcome, my friend. Hope all is well with you. I love Cruel Intentions. I'd call it horror with some dark humor. Selma's great. Loves salons. Oh, I agree with all of that, man. I think it is. It is horror with some dark humor. So I'm glad you're on the same page with me there, because I know there's some people that they don't see it that way, and that's fine if you don't. I agree. Selma is great. I really like Selma Blair. I really like watching this movie back. It made me kind of realize, I'm like, man, she was really good. Like, I know some people think that she played it too stupid, like she was too dumb and naive, but that was the character. I thought she did a fine job. Like, that she is a dumb, naive girl. Like, that's the point. Like, I don't know. I guess people feel like she went too far with it, but it is what it is. I thought she did a good job at it. And yeah, of course, salons, palindromes, happiness, Welcome to the Dollhouse. So many great fucking movies, Todd Solondz. He recently was in New York City. I went with Fever Dreamland Theater. We went to go see, they did a screening of Palindromes, and he showed up. So it was so cool to hear him answer questions and stuff like that. Like, Palindromes just came to 4K too. That's one of my all-time favorites. So I was super, super happy. I really should review that 4K. Maybe I'll do a separate video and review the 4K of Palindromes. John Malkovich was in Liaisons. That's right. It was John Malkovich was the other. It was Pfeiffer. It was close, and it was Malkovich. Good movie. Made what? I'd have to look it up probably. I would guess in the vicinity of like 30, 40 million. But again, add some good looking teens in there. Now it's 70 fucking million. You see how easy that is? Very smart. Karma is a bitch. And like I've said in the past, when you fucking meet the biggest bitch in the yard, her name is Karma, baby. Sarah Michelle Gellar is an underappreciated actress, I think. I agree. There's only ever been one Sarah Michelle Gellar. There's nobody like her. Like, yeah, she's beautiful, but it's her timing. Like the timing of not just comedic lines with Buffy with the, have you accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? Well, I thought about it, but then I got busy. And she just keeps fucking power walking. Like, that's one of my all-time favorite line deliveries. Like, I thought about it, but I got shit to do. I got vampires to slay. I love that, man. She's her everything about her, right? Okay, like in this movie, she's this maniacal bitch that, again, doesn't, she enjoys having sex, but it's not about that. It's about the manipulation, the high stimulant. The psychology is, I want to humiliate somebody. That's fucking, you're a psychopath, man. Hence psychological horror. That's her character in this. Then she'll go and before this, I Know What You Did Last Summer, is she's the dumb blonde, the fun, dim-witted friend. She could play stupid with a sincere heart to it. She played Buffy with a toughness, but still the sexiness and the vulnerability, which I think a lot of people miss now. Wow, there's a spider on my screen. Holy shit. Hold on. We got to kill that son of a bitch. Okay, we just killed the spider only on Grande's Graveyard. But like I was saying, she plays that character with such a vulnerability, which I think a lot of people now, they just go, oh, well, we have to make our heroes like invincible. Even Superman had a kryptonite. Like, have them have vulnerabilities, have them show emotions. Therefore, when they do get their ass kicked, we cheer louder when they pick themselves off the floor. That's what a lot of people don't get now. Now it's about, oh, I want to show empowerment. You can show empowerment, but you have to let these bitches sell. If you don't let them fucking sell like Sarah Michelle fucking Gellar did, you're going to become a fucking Ruby Sue. And when you become a Ruby Sue, I don't give a shit about you. You don't have vulnerability, don't have a weakness. You're perfection. Nobody's perfect. That's why we fucking rebel against teams or people that are, right? Oh, God, Tom Brady, that motherfucker, 7 Super Bowls. He used to have the model wife. He's just gotten it all. I fucking hate you. Fuck you. You've got it all. Fuck. It's Goldberg, 173 wins and no losses. You can't work. You can't wrestle with anything more than a 2-minute match. They're cheering for you, but you stink. What the fuck? You're the Yankees, 27 world championships, and we're smoking our cigars because we buy them all, and you can't because you don't have the money that we do. Fuck you. That's the whole psychology. It goes for everything. If you become too perfect, vulnerability, it just dies by the wayside. And that's the way society is now. And I don't get that. I really don't get where that line got drawn. But I think we've crossed it way too far now to go back. I first knew her as Daphne in Scooby-Doo movies. Oh, sure. I probably would have been my introduction to it too. I would have been what? Five. I would have been 5 when the first Scooby-Doo movie came out. And I vividly remember seeing that in the theater and loving it. James Gunn did a great job. Love Matthew Lillard, Shaggy, Freddie Prinze, who I've got another I Know What You Did Last Summer reunion there, I guess, of him and Sarah Michelle Gellar. Of course, Linda Cardellini. Great cast. I like the Scooby-Doo movies. I know people don't, but maybe it's because I saw them when I was like 5 and 7, respectively. Maybe that's why. Joe Mama's in the house. Let's go. Joe Mama. Those 2 Scooby-Doo movies are great. I tend to agree. I like the way they're written. They're directed so, but I think they're written really well. Like, I like James Gunn and how he gives everybody an arc, and I don't know. I think he's a good fucking writer, man. People need to give him more credit. I've seen this, but it's been so long ago. My memories are pretty vague, but what I do recall, Renee was pretty amazing in this movie. Oh, Reese was pretty amazing in this movie. Yeah, no, Reese is good. Reese is definitely good. I would say, though, she's the third wheel here. Like, it's Felipe and Gellar, and I don't like Felipe at all, really, but he's really good in this movie. I'll give the devil credit where it's due. He doesn't do a good job here. But yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar is, and I would say even Selma Blair is a fucking really shining bright light here. Great soundtrack. Yeah, I agree. I think the soundtrack of this movie's money. I haven't seen this one and it wasn't interested, but a friend said it was deeper than it looked. And between you and him, I may give it a shot eventually. Yeah, no, I think you should. I get why you look at this and go, oh, is that like a teen, like, can't hardly wait, or she's all that, or stuff like that. It's granted, I was, of course, with like the thrilling, horrific spin. I could see if you look at it and think it would be a movie like that. That's fine, and it does have elements, There's no doubt it has elements of movies like that, but I think it's a little bit more. There's a lot of psychology and things to be said. As someone who has yet to see the movie, it seems like it's trying to address how teen sexuality could come across as manipulative sometimes. Dude, you hit the nail on the head. That is absolutely on the money of what it's trying to say. I said it right at the get-go. It's the horrors of manipulation. How can I manipulate someone to do what I want them to do, no matter how degrading to them, no matter how much of their personal innocence is taken away. If it satisfies me, if I get what I want, that's all that matters. And there's horror in that to me. That kiss probably had a lot of young guys standing at attention, if you catch my drift. Oh my gosh, I'm sure. I can't remember when I first saw this, but it was the scene where Sarah Michelle Gellar gets on the bed and is like, you could put it anywhere you want. I remember being like, I was thinking, oh my God, like this is cinema, man. People saying happy birthday, Mateo. Absolutely, man. Happy belated B-Day, Mateo. Also, that must have been one hell of a night. LOL, you sly dog. Yeah. Death of a spider only. Yes. Random spider. Dude, I like come down from the ceiling and landed on the screen, and I had to like kill his ass. Grande and Arachnophobia remake. I play John Goodman, and I will blast his ass to kingdom come. I would love to play John Goodman in the exterminator character of that. That would be hysterical. Kill the fly and a spider only on the graveyard. That's right. I think might kill the centipede once on one of the Tales from the Dark Side shows. There was like a giant centipede that just appeared. And I was like, oh shit, that was crazy, man. I don't know. The bugs come crawling out, and the graveyard has bugs in it. Let's be honest. Leave Goldberg alone. He did his best. Well, yeah, he did his best for 2 minutes. Scooby-Doo live action are precious to me. Yeah, maybe it's just like, because some people tell me, they're like, you like those movies? I'm like, yeah, I mean, you got to keep in mind, I was 5 when I saw it. So yeah, I do like those movies. It's been 23 years and I still really like those movies. I don't know. I'm crazy. Grande the Exterminator. Empowerment comes from a raw emotion and humanity, not I'm strong and skilled just cuz. Yes. Holy shit. Yes. And man, we need you to start writing something, man. You get it. What up, Grande's Graveyard and all the chat? Ginger Ninja Movie Reviews. Welcome, my friend. Hope all's well. Monsters Unleashed is a great tribute to the show. And the first one is a good breakdown of the parody of both. They both shine in different areas. I'd agree. Oh, it did it for me. Oh, okay. I think you're talking about the Sarah Michelle Gellar, Selma Blair scene. I like She's All That, and I just thought it was just a dumb shock value thriller about a guy trying to have sex with his relative, and it didn't appeal. Okay, so they are stepbrother and sister. So they're not. I know some people have made the mistake thinking they were actually brother and sister, which that would be weird. I think they did that in Not Another Teen Movie, right? With Chris Evans and the actress that played his sister. They do that whole gag from this movie where his sister wants to have sex with Chris Evans. That's something, and I think that came out in like 2000. Was it a human centipede? No, it wasn't. I don't have any human centipedes. I'm not this like genius surgeon German doctor that keeps people, kidnap them. No, I don't do any of that. That's just not crazy enough for me. I'm just kidding. But all right, so disturbing behavior, just give it a rating. I'm gonna come in with a strong 8 out of 10. I think this is a strong 8. 8.5 on its best day, but I want to go with this solid standard 8 out of 10 for Cruel Intentions. I really like this movie from beginning to finish. Like I said, good acting, good writing, good tension, sexual tension, a good psychology to it, fantastic soundtrack, and overall just a really entertaining movie from start to finish. Really like Cruel Intentions. I think it's a good one. Mia Kirshner was great in that Not on a Teen Movie. That was the sister, right? And I feel like I heard him say that like he had to fucking restrain himself because he was so attracted to her. He was like, dude, this is like, I have to like stay calm and shit. Like that's when you got problems. Once I had 2 spiders show up in my room behind my TV. Hopefully another one shows up, gives me superpowers. Yeah, let's hope so, man. You're the next Spider-Man. Cut out Tom Holland. Give me Ant-Man 525. But that brings us to the final movie of the evening, of course, where we jump backwards a year of 1998. Of course, like I said, unfortunately, the VHS, I've ordered it 3 weeks ago. It is still not here. So I don't know what the hell happened. I'm sorry I don't have the VHS to show up. So instead, I will do this quick screen share, if you will, because I do feel bad. I always like to show some kind of a visual. Of course, from this movie from 1998, from director David Nutter, this is disturbing. behavior. Yes, disturbing behavior. Brief plot synopsis. The new kid in Cradle Bay, Washington, stumbles across something sinister about the town's method of transforming its unruly teens into upstanding citizens. Yes, cruel intentions. Wow. So this one, man, there's so much to say. There really is so much to say. As I want to get to, let me get to the comments here because this is, I don't know how long. I'm going to try to not go terribly long, but we'll see. Disturbing behavior always had X-Files vibe to me. Coincidentally, I watched the movie with the commentary on the director, David Nutter, talked about directing. Well, that you stole the words right out of my mouth. Yes, that's the world he came from before this. He was a guy, he was hotshot out of film school, and he went to direct the, of course, episodes of the X-Files. He directed episodes of like, The Commish with Michael Chiklis and like several TV shows at this time, early 90s, bleeding into the mid 90s. And a lot of the people that work on this were either extras in the X-Files or they were like people that worked in the part, like the cinematographer was the main cinematographer for the X-Files. Love Disturbing Behavior, underrated classic. All right, a lot of love for this movie. I'm sort of somewhere in the middle here. Especially after I read what I've read about this thing. It's fucking kind of staggering what went on here. Now, of course, the whole idea of this was, let's do this movie where James Marsden's character is the lead, and he does a good job. I sort of like James Marsden. Sometimes I think he's like pretty boy, but other times I think he does an okay, passable job. Like he's like, it's, to me, it's him and Paul Walker are very interchangeable. R.I.P. Paul Walker. He's the lead here. This guy, his name is Steve Clark. His sister's played by Catherine Isabel in a really early role. This is pre-Ginger Snaps Catherine Isabel. Yeah, somebody mentioned it right here. Yeah, it was cool to see her. They and their family moved to this new town, and we get the idea that their brother has committed some sort of, he took his own life. It's very half-assed explained, and we'll understand why when we get into some of the production history of this movie. But they move to this new town. James Marsden starts meeting all these people in the town. Some of them act very prim and proper. You have, of course, all of your factions, if you will. You have the nerds, you have the jocks, you have the skateboarding kids, you've got the popular kids, all of these things. And the director did a funny job in each shot. If you look closely, each kid and group, each friend group, they had their own filter. Like the jocks were blue, the weird, nerdy kids were yellow, the skateboarders were green. Every single time they show a different group of kids, they change the color palette a little bit. I liked that. I thought that was cool to kind of, okay, this will differentiate. We'll do a color coding thing. I thought that was smart. He comes to town. He meets, of course, Nick Stahl. Where, holy shit, I'm going to hell. I always make fun of Nick Stahl. Nick Stahl stinks. I'm sorry, Nick Stahl sucks. And I remember the times Nick Stahl went missing. Remember that? He went missing like 3 times in 2011 or 2012. He probably got lost trying to find his own fucking career. I don't know. Nick Stahl stinks, man. I don't know. After Terminator 3 and the fucking Cristiano Loken, man, that motherfucker just crashed and burned. I will give, though, again, devil's credit, devil's advocate. He's okay here. I don't mind him in this movie as this guy who he's trying to convince James Marsden that something's not right and that these kids in the town are slowly turning into these killers, but they're supposed to be these prim and proper people. The movie even opens with, it feels like just another slash movie, like a Cherry Falls or, Scream or, just any of them with the classic opening kill, if you will. That's how this movie opens, and it's this couple in a car, and they're making out. I noticed the girl from, I think she was in X-Files. They're making out, and then she starts to go down on him, and then all of a sudden, it takes this wild turn where the guy snaps the girl's neck, and he kind of takes her head off, and like the police show up, and some of them are on it, and Nick Stahl witnesses this whole thing, kind of runs away. You get the idea that these people are being brainwashed by this mad scientist to try to get younger kids to start obeying and conforming to society. But the problem is when you have teenage kids, you're not ever going to be able to control their hormones. So when they get horny or when they feel any kind of sexual urge, that's when the program goes wrong and they get this unruly disturbing behavior about them that starts to have them try to kill off people, and that's basically turns them violent and shit. They even get the red Terminator eye. I can't, obviously, mine's going to look blue because of the fucking light, but they get the red glowing eye in this, just like the fucking Terminator, which I always thought was kind of a funny touch. I don't think you really needed that, but they felt they did. One more point before we get into, like, you know, pros and cons of this movie. Katie Holmes, of course, she was on Dawson's Creek, and that was, of course, airing while they were filming this. And, of course, on Dawson's Creek, she was this goody two-shoes character where she's beautiful, but she was very, like, reserved and very, you know, off limits, sacred, if you will. Here, she's playing a goth character, and the studio was like, we got to give this girl a grand entrance. So her entrance in this movie is basically her stretching, putting the shirt on, like being all sorts of sexy on the back of this guy's truck in the middle of public. And James Marsden's like, yeah, like, I'm gonna give me a couch to jump on. Where's Tom Cruise at? Let's jump on the couch together and fucking frolic. I mean, you know, she's beautiful. Always thought Katie Holmes was beautiful. Not much of an actress. Never was much of an actress. But she's beautiful woman. And she does a good job at this, playing the punk rock girl, if you will. And like slowly but surely, James Marsden's getting and understanding that these kids are turning and there's something off with them. There's the great scene, probably my favorite scene in the movie, when he gets, this woman tries to seduce him. I want to get her name right here. I'm not, it's Chris something, but I can't think of her damn name off the top of my head. If somebody wants to look that up for me, help me out with that, who the blonde actress that tries to seduce James Marsden. That's my favorite scene in the movie, where he comes home and of course this blonde girl had been babysitting his sister and like studying with her, and she's like, what's the matter? Don't you find me attractive? And she starts undressing for him, and he's like, I find you extremely attractive, but I think there's something off here. And she's like, okay. And then she starts bashing her head into the fucking wall, and this blood is pouring out, and she's, I have to go home and study. It's almost like part of her old self, her non-brainwashed self, is coming through, but it's sort of the conformity side. It's like, okay, go and study, like get the fuck out of here. I loved that. I thought that scene was really intense, really well directed. Crystal Cast, thank you so much. I'm sorry, I knew it was something Chris something. Crystal Cast, there you go. That's a great name. That's like a porn name. Crystal Cast in Seductive Blondes. Disturbing behavior of the porn. I don't know. She's a gorgeous lady, and like I liked that scene a lot. I thought that was a really good scene. Now, where this movie I think has some cons is, unfortunately, a lot of it does not make the slightest lick of sense when you're looking at it as a full narrative. Now, the original cut for this movie ran just 5 minutes under 2 hours. It was a 155-minute movie, hour 55 movie, 115-minute movie, if you will. And they screened this for test screenings, and it got overwhelmingly positive reviews. They were like, we got a hit on our hands. The director was so thrilled that everybody really liked the movie. He was thrilled. They decided to do one more test screening, and that one wasn't as positively received. And what happened was the studio said, let's cut this down a little bit. It's a little long. They proceeded to cut 20 minutes of the film out. That's a lot. You went from 115 minutes to 95 minutes. That's a lot. Still over an hour and a half, though. We're still over feature length, what have you. Let's figure this out. They screened it another time. When they screened it the next time, people thought it was a little too talky. It wasn't enough action. So they cut the movie in half from there, and they released a 72-minute screening cut where people were like, okay, yeah, this is not boring or slow or talky anymore, but what the fuck is going on? You cut all the fucking plot out of this. You took all the fucking explanation as to what's going on out of it. So then they added some time back, and the final cut that we get, the only cut that we get, is the 84-minute cut that, of course, the director was very upset and disheartened about, and even went to lengths of asking for them to take his name off the project, because, of course, from his original 115-minute director cut, they took 31 minutes of that out of the film. And a lot of that stuff is vital to me because I've watched some of the deleted scenes, and if those scenes were in there, this makes this movie so much better. It would be a very good movie, in my opinion. But unfortunately, without those scenes, some of this just doesn't make any sense. Like right off the bat, one of the things. we have James Marsden and the whole family, and you could see they're coming through the grief of losing the brother, who was played by Ethan Embry, who was funny enough in Can't Hardly Wait. You get the idea. He and his girlfriend went on some crazy murder spree, and they killed themselves, and then they're dealing with the grief of that. That's really just glossed over in the version that you can watch. It's just, there's none of it explained. You get a flashback or two, these weird flashbacks, and it's not really explained. So that really is weak. Like, they're trying to tell this big story of, okay, this is a family that's trying to move on and past their grief. They move into this town where, oh my God, everybody thinks they know better than us, and everybody wants everyone to obey. And it's not they live, but it's a society where everyone needs to conform because I know what's better for you than you. That's the whole mentality of the people in the town, the guy that's running the whole scientific thing. That, I thought that could have helped a lot. There's this fun character who, of course, is played by Death in the Bill and Ted movies. I always call him Death in the Bill and Ted movies. And of course, he was also in Tales from the Crypt and Power. And William Sadler is the guy. He plays this funny, over-the-top janitor who has this weird accent. And he's like, hey guys. Like, I don't know what he's really going for. He's a weird cat in this movie. But there's a whole scene and backstory that describes why his character is kind of playing dumb and understands what's going on and sort of helps James Marsden and Nick Stahl and Katie Holmes through this. I wanted more about him. Apparently there is more about him, but we never get it here, which is kind of a letdown. Like, it's one of those movies where it's like, yeah, it's so cut that I can understand why the director was so disheartened, right? And it's a shame because I do think you had a very good movie on the surface here if you just didn't mess with his vision. Hey, if you cut 10 minutes out, that's one thing. Cutting 31 minutes out, that's not cutting a movie's ball. That's cutting its heart out, really. I mean, you really are. You're cutting out a lot of the stuff that would explain and make this thing better and make a lot more sense, right? I wanted this big explanation as to why the mad scientist is doing what he's doing. Why do these kids need to conform? Give me the whole speech of how society and teenagers, they're so unruly now and disrespectful, and hey, teachers, leave them kids alone. Give me the whole fucking show. And none of that's in here. Granted, I could not find if that was a deleted scene, the whole explanation as to why the mad scientist is trying to have these kids conform into goody two-shoes kids for the better. But holy shit, man, that needed to be in here. That's like the biggest problem I have with it. But with all that said, with all the cons, and I do think it's not really the director or writer's fault. I really don't. I think they had a good movie here that just got really watered down to the point of distilled by the studio. What you have here is an 84-minute with credits. It is 77 minutes without. It is a 77 hour 17. Really brief watch. I watched it on Tubi because my VHS didn't come in. It is fun. It's entertaining. It's never boring. And that, I guess, was what the studio intended. What the studio didn't get, though, was their big payday, right? Cruel Intentions, just over an hour and a half. That gets the big payday, 10 million, grosses over 70. This, Cruel Intentions, goes, of course, with a budget of 15 million, grosses 17 million worldwide, opens the same day as fucking Saving Private Ryan, which grossed almost $500 million. Talk about dead on arrival. This is not quite Idle Hands Dead on Arrival, which was like a $25 million budget, and I don't even think it grossed $5 worldwide. That was as dead on arrival as you can get. This, though, is a fucking close second. It opened at number 7. Number 7 on its opening week was number 7 behind Saving Private Ryan and all these movies that had already been in the fucking theaters. Opened number 7 with $7 million, and they grossed like just about 13 million more than, no, about what would it be, like 10 million more than that. That's all they got. So this movie was a flop. It's a classic age-old story that Hollywood can ruin something that's really may have been good if you otherwise had not touched it. I know the director to this day has wanted to release his own theatrical cut, but of course the studio won't give him the rights to do it. They wouldn't let him release it on the original DVD. They wouldn't let him do it when Shout Factory got the hold of the movie. They would only let them license the original cut. So it's a shame. I don't know. I mean, I know there are fan cuts online of people adding and splicing those scenes back into the movie. Now, that's not official. Those are more fan cuts. It's cool to see the scenes in there, but again, it's not the same at the same time. It's It's fun. I like Katie Holmes in it. I like Marsden okay. Nick Stahl is good in the movie. You have Chad Danella, who would go on to be in Final Destination, and some other people may remember him from the final chapter of Saw. Yes, Saw, the final chapter. He's that terrible detective in that's over the top in it. He's almost unrecognizable as this albino, like, pale guy. Yeah, I see Trenchy mentioned him, the albino stoner guy. Yeah, that's the guy from Final Destination. So he'd go on Final Destination just a few short months / years after this. It has its moments. It really does. Like, there's the fun scene where they go to the asylum and they run out of there, and you hear the I'm sick, but I'm not well. I love that song. That's great 90s stuff. I love the some of the scenes in the hallways with the kids talking and conversing and shit like that. Some of that stuff felt very Kevin Williamson. I liked there's this one kind of bully character where he confronts Katie Holmes. He's like, will you go out with me? She goes, no, you have the sex appeal. Like, you have the worst sex appeal in the history of the world. And he just goes, will you go out with me? And she's like, no. He goes, why not? Like, he fucking just screams because his hormones just make him go nuts. And then William Sadler has this machine miraculously that fucking makes the guy, like, fall to the ground and grab his ears and shit. I don't know. I think you could have had a really good movie here. Unfortunately, the finished product is a movie that's rather cut down. They changed the ending several times. This ending, I think they show that Nick Stahl at the end is a substitute teacher in another school, and he's been turned into one of these things. He's the teacher, and he's now going to try to get these kids to conform. So it's a sequel ending, which, spoiler alert, they didn't make fucking enough money. They didn't make any money for it to make a sequel, so it's a shame. But it is what it is. It's a classic case of, is it entertaining for what it is? Absolutely. They're good actors? Absolutely. The story, I thought the story would have fit more for like 80s movie. It definitely has more of an 80s vibe with that whole, like something like Night of the Creeps or something that Fred Decker would have done. I think it definitely has more of that vibe, like mid 80s vibe. However, I think this could have been a lot better movie, and it's a shame because it's nobody who made its fault. Like, I don't hold my cons for the movie really against the people that made it. I more point towards the producers that clearly just didn't know what they had, and I think they cost themselves in the long run, right? Last week we talked about Slender Man, how they cut all that in the movie. They still made $50 million. $50 million? Who you think you got kidnapped? Chelsea Clinton? $50 million they made anyway. It's like, who fucking cares that we cut this movie's balls off? We still laughed all our way to the pay window. This, another story, it is what it is. We'll give a rating, but I want to see your guys' comments. Again, I told you I was going to go probably a little long, so that's my gimmick here. I like this one. I thought it was going to be like The Faculty, but it gave me more TV movie vibe with an edge, but in a good way. I had a lot of fun with it. Yeah, it's funny. When you say TV movie, I would think more of this one. This one felt in a way like a TV movie at times. This one, it feels theatrical to me, and I agree that it has the vibe of something like The Faculty, but to me, The Faculty is like way better fucking movie than this. And again, I don't know. Maybe this would have been just as good, if not better, than The Faculty if you didn't just fucking completely shred it. But that's how it goes in Hollywood sometimes. The movie is mostly a teen version of The Stepford Wives, both dealing with obsession and with perfection, societal expectations. Yeah, that's a great call. Yes, it is. That is exactly what this movie is trying to do. It's like a 90s teen Stepford Wives. That is a great way to put it, because that's pretty much what it is. Catherine Isabel had a small role. I think it was her first film. Yes, right, just before Ginger Snaps, one of my other favorite neo-horror movies. Definitely, that's a top fiver, neo-horror movies. And I don't know if I should do like a werewolf special or like a coming-of-age horror special, because that would be a prime one to review. I've never reviewed that on the channel, and I definitely think I should. July, maybe July. We got 5 shows in July. The Harbinger Janitor is the best part, and I felt for the friend that got turned. I did too. The Harbinger Janitor, I think, was just kind of a little wacky for me. Like, again, though, they apparently cut out scenes where it was like, oh, I had kids and fucking this happened, and that's why I pretend to be dumb, but I'm really not. Like, that, he needed that. It was a big moment between him and Marsden to kind of bond, and they cut that out, man. Millennium was another show he directed episodes of. That's right. That is absolutely right. Yes, he did. The song Flagpole Sit Up by Harvey Danger is such a very punk rock song. It was used in some of the TV ads for the movie. That's right. The trailer plays the song at the end. I love that. Disturbing behavior. Coming soon to a theater near you. I like that. I think James Marsden's a fine actor. I haven't seen much of him in his heyday yet. Well, I know you know from the Sonic movies, which Ant-Man requested me to review when he won the contest to review the Sonic movies. That was a week we did on the show. And actually next week we're doing the other viewer request show. So we're going to talk about the Mets, which is going to be wild. I never thought we'd do a Grande's Graveyard on the Mets, but here we are. This movie is a solid 7 out of 10 for me. Yeah, I could see 7 out of 10. I don't know if I'd go that high. I'm more like 5.5, 6. I'm more there. Like, I think it's weird. It's like if the studio didn't touch it, glass half full, really good, solid movie probably. Because they did, it's like it's a feeling of this got cut, glass half empty, where I'm a little underwhelmed, but it is still entertaining. There's still pretty faces. There are still the things that you need to look for when you're looking for a successful neo-90s horror movie. That stuff's all still there. And I think that if you don't know the backstory of all that, yeah, some things won't make sense. But at the same time, I thought they were well enough done by the creative involved that it kind of makes it go away, if that makes any sense. Like, if I didn't know any better, maybe I would like this movie way more, but like knowing what I know now, it's like, wow, like it just makes you get this sour taste in your mouth for MGM. It does feel cut, and it's extremely cut. I feel this and The Faculty make a great double feature. Totally. I would start with this though. This is a 77-minute movie before credits. Start with this one. And with The Faculty. The Faculty is the main event there. I would say, of all the movies that came after Scream with the neo horror movement, that's the best one, is The Faculty. Like, I always thought that was the best one. I love Josh Hartnett, Jordana Brewster, Elijah Wood, the whole spiel at the end, my whole new world. I want you to be a part of that. I love that that's great stuff, man. That's Robert Rodriguez and Kevin Williamson 101, Agreed Ninja. Speaking of which, Jinja, both movies have a hit song, Another Brick in the Wall. It's the Armageddon / Deep Impact of teen high school horror genre. Oh my God, I didn't think of that either. I definitely think Stepford Wives is more on the money, but that's not a bad point at all either. Yep, Chad Danella. There was a movie I remember seeing on the Family Channel called Perfect Little Angels that has the same plot. Really, I've not seen that. I'm assuming that's more like ABC Family type of movie. Yeah. At the premiere of Disturbing Behavior, they were also showing Saving Private Ryan. That's basically it. Like, Saving Private Ryan was a revolutionary movie. It changed movies. Like, violence was okay in cinema after that movie came out. It was like, everyone was like, wait a minute, if this movie can do it, we can do it. You know, the whole, like, that was what happened. And that, I mean, to open on the same day as that, bro, you didn't have a chance, whether they cut it or not. I truly do believe, even if this movie had not been cut, I think it would have made more money. I do think it would have been a little bit more successful had they not cut it to shreds. But at the same time, man, you're dead on arrival. You open up the same day as a movie like that. Anything Spielberg. You open up on the same day as Jurassic Park. Yeah, remember Hocus Pocus? That opened the same day as Jurassic Park. Nobody fucking went to go see Hocus Pocus, a movie about fucking Salem witches coming back from the dead because of the black flame candle, a fucking Halloween October movie that you released in the middle of the summer, against fucking Jurassic Park, which is like one of the all-time biggest, greatest blockbusters that there's ever been. Dead on arrival. I love Hocus Pocus. It had no fucking chance to compete. You just don't have a chance. I don't care if you had 1 million John Grandes. I bet you half to 750,000 of them would have been going to see Jurassic Park. So if I was alive, great soundtrack. Missed the era of good soundtracks with horror movies. I'd have to agree with that, man. Welcome, Ben Grimm. That's one thing that this made me notice. This movie and this Cruel Intentions especially, the soundtracks were really good, and the scores, and like they don't really have that now. I don't feel like modern horror movies really have that good of soundtracks. I don't know, and I couldn't pinpoint when it ended exactly. It would have been sometime after the 90s, but I can't pinpoint where exactly in the 2000s that would have fallen off. Yeah, it could have been a bit deeper, and it does feel a bit incomplete. But all in all, I do think it's a really fun movie. I can understand why it's a cult classic. See, yeah, I can see why people have fun with this too. I don't know. Would you say it's a cult classic? Is this a cult classic? I'm genuinely asking. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's likable. It is likable. It's an enjoyable movie. It's quick. It's harmless, really. It's just there are parts of it where it's like kind of clunky. Ginger Snaps is my favorite werewolf movie. It's a classic. I love that movie too. I love Ginger Snaps. Fucking great. Like that's Emily Perkins and Catherine Isabel are just so good in that, playing off each other. We got Kubrick Lover in the house. Ginger Snaps would be great if you did a werewolf special and werewolves go with the whole graveyard theme of your show. Yeah, maybe I'll do a werewolf special. I don't know. I'm most of the schedule for July is made, but I'll have to do that. If you do werewolf special, you should have Bad Moon on there, underrated werewolf film, in my opinion. Very cool. Oh, there you go. Ryan Hanley was there. Saw Hocus Pocus in the theater. That is so freaking cool. I'm jealous. That is one man that I grew up with, watching reruns on the Disney Channel before it really blew up. Like that's a cult classic. Like Hocus Pocus is fucking huge now, right? Like they do the reunions now every 5 years or so. It's become a big fucking Halloween cult classic. And oh man, I love that movie. So I'm jealous you got to see that in the theater. That movie bleeds nostalgia in a good way. I'm right there with you. It really does. And I've been to Salem where they shot most of that movie, not all of it, but oh my God, that location, like going to the town hall where the whole musical number of I Put a Spell on You, that was really cool for me. I went to the pizzeria where the Rob Zombie's Lords of Salem was shot. That was really cool. Like Salem was a beautiful town, a really fun vacation, somewhere I'd like to go back to. I've heard people talk about it like it's a cult classic. I was told, OMG, you haven't seen Disturbing Here. Really? I don't know if it's there, but again, for some people, maybe for a younger generation, right? I think, what are you, a year or so younger than me? You're right around my age. I don't think you're that much younger than me. Like I think a year younger. So yeah, no, maybe it's people of my age that I'm not positive of. I don't know. I've never heard anyone say cult classic, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is. Silver Bullet would also be great for werewolf special. Okay, so I've enticed the graveyard with a werewolf special. Not now nor ever have I been a fan of Hocus Pocus. Yeah, it's funny. That movie is so dependent on what age you are when you see it, or maybe I phrased that wrong. It's dependent on what era you are. I know a lot of kids that grew up people that were kids in the 80s that fucking hate Hocus Pocus. They're like Sarah fucking Jessica Parker, Kathy and Jimmy, Bette Midler. They're like, that is the worst. I remember Don Nice, who I used to do the FHMP with. He was like, I can't, those actresses, he's like, that just sounds like bad to me. And then he watched, he didn't like it. I don't think the Dead Pit guys like Hocus Pocus. There's a lot of people that don't like it, but the one thing all those people have in common is they grew up in the 80s, whereas Hocus Pocus was like early 90s and didn't really catch for a generation until the early 2000s. And I think that's a big thing with that movie. But I get it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I can see not liking it. It's definitely not everyone's cup of tea. I love Silver Bullet. Okay. I met Omri Katz last year, had him sign my Erie, Indiana set. Nice guy. He's also in Matinee. Matinee was Omri Katz with John Goodman. I love that movie. That's a really cool, movie about movies. I love Matinee. That's a good one, man. I really like that one. And of course, I know it's funny. Freaking Leonardo DiCaprio was supposed to be the original choice in Hocus Pocus, but they went with Omri Katz. Isn't that crazy? I'm very new to it. I was told by someone who saw it in their teens. Okay, Hocus Pocus is fun, not my favorite. I'm 28. There you go. I'm right. We're about a year apart. So yeah, no, maybe it is a cult classic. I don't know. For me, like a 5.5 out of 10, I'd give this. I think it could have been a 7, 8, 7.5, but man, from what they did to it, it's a disgrace. It truly is. So it is what it is. But thank you guys so much. This was a lot of fun here tonight, talking all things neo horror movies on Grande's Graveyard. Of course, the 2 VHSs that I have here, The Clown at Midnight, and of course, Cruel Intentions. I think these movies are fairly easy to stream. You don't have to buy the VHS tapes like me. The Disturbing Behavior one will eventually get here, hopefully before July. Granted, now I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I watched the movie. I'm not going to pop it in the VHS player when it comes. I don't know what to do. But, just wanted to give a brief preview for next week's show. Next week's show, we have the second of our 2 winners that had show requests from back on Grande's Graveyard 300, of course, when we did the spin the wheel, make the deal. Of course, some people won money, some people won shirts, and then, of course, these 2, they won their pick of a show. Of course, Ant-Man did the Sonic the Hedgehog retrospective, whereas, Johnny, who's going to come on and join me next week, he wanted to do top 5 Mets moments. So very unique. I don't know how many people we'll have in the house. Of course, we'll kick off July back with horror, no worries. But for my Mets fans or my baseball fans, sport fans, what have you, next week we'll be getting into that. So that'll be a lot of fun to have him on and discuss the top 5 New York Mets moments of the 21st century. We each have a list to make, and I'll be joined by him. And then, of course, I'll be dropping the schedule for July this Sunday, or maybe even before that, of course. So we have 5 shows in July. 3 of the 5 are already booked. I'm just waiting on confirmation for the other 2, but for people. So, okay, we have those, and I'll definitely share those at that time. Let's just get the comments, and we will hit the road here. I know I'm looking into a crystal ball a bit, but if you already have July schedule figured out, you could do werewolves in October, maybe for Halloween or something. So, okay, save werewolves till Halloween. All right, you know what? I'll have to note that down. We're still going to do Tales from the Dark Side season 4 in October, but we will also try to do werewolves. That's a good idea. Only on the Graveyard 2 Sweet Piece. Hell yeah. Was Naomi Watts in matinee? No, I don't think so. I don't think that. And if she's in there, I don't remember her in there. No, definitely not. Because Mulholland Drive would have been one of the first movies she ever did. That's 99, whereas matinee was like 93, 94. No, I don't think she would have been acting in films yet. Really fun episode. Thank you so much. Awesome show. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Awesome stuff. Excited to check out some other Neo Horror episodes. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate the support as always. Great show, man. Stay frosty. Bradley, thank you for always keeping it real, man. Everybody, thank you so much. If you catch the replay, comment down below. Let me know what you thought of these 3 movies. If you've seen 1, if you've seen 2, if you've seen all 3 of them, just let me know what you guys think of these, awesome movies that we're discussing on Neo Horror Night. So everyone, thank you so much for a safe, happy, healthy show, and hope you have a safe, happy, healthy weekend. Tomorrow is Jaws 50th anniversary. If you're not a fan of Jaws, I implore you to try to watch it again on the 50th. And of course, it's also Fulci Lives Film Week over at Instagram. So support those guys. They're awesome. But everybody, thank you so much for a fun show here tonight. Cheers and all things to Neo 90s horror only on Grande's Graveyard 2 Sweet Piece. And we will catch you next time. Good night, everybody. Cheers to the 90s.